Hey guys, it's Trisha with Upcycled Stuff. So I have another little tutorial on using up those t-shirts, and it's I want to show you how to make these flowers. There's actually 3 different versions of the same flower, and I'll just show you how to make the basic flower, and then I'll talk about how to make each version. So let me show you what we're going to need to get started. So what you're going to need is a t-shirt of some color, or multiple colors if you want to make a multiple color flower, and a pair of scissors. I will, however, be using a straight edge and a rotary cutter, so either or is fine. You'll need a rubber band for each flower that you're making, a small piece of felt for each flower, and then you'll need some kind of a glue. I'm going to show you the no-sew way to make this, and then I'll show you the one place where you can sew, where I actually recommend it. But you'll need some type of glue. So I really like E6000, but if you have fabric glue, you can use that too. I'm just not crazy. I've never been crazy about the hold of fabric glue. I don't think it does all it says it does. So anyway, you'll need some kind of a glue. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is cut off a piece of your t-shirt. So grab your scissors or your straight edge and your rotary cutter, and you're going to take your t-shirt. It'd be best if you didn't have something that had a lot of graphics, especially this kind that's like that heavy plastic, almost like the iron-on stuff that you buy in the store. Some silk screening isn't so bad, but this is ugh. So you're going to take your t-shirt with your bottom hem removed, and you're going to take off, well, you can take off, let's do 3 inches. So let me show you the difference. I think each one of these flowers here, I think these are, this one was 3 inches and this one was 4 inches, my initial strip. And then something like this, I did much smaller, like 2 or 3 inches, maybe 3 inches. Whatever you do, it's going to be half the size because you're going to fold your fabric in half. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking about it and just cut off 1, 2, 3 inches. And if you fold it in half, it makes the cut go even quicker. Alright, now you can move all this other stuff out of your way, because you don't need it right now. You're going to take this piece of fabric, this loop. Now look, if you don't have the bottom of your t-shirt, or if you want to make smaller flowers, you don't have to take, because this is kind of valuable, if you take this loop off, if you're someone who makes a lot of t-shirt yarn, that's a lot of yarn you just wasted. So if you have the tops of shirts where you've used the sleeves, you've used the bottom for t-shirt yarn, you can cut bits and pieces and sew them off, or sew them together, because you don't need a loop. We're going to cut it, okay? So cut it in half. This is going to be a huge flower. This is going to be one of our bigger ones. So what you're going to do is, this is the place where I said you could sew if you wanted to. We have to fold this in half, and I recommend sewing this seam down, but you can glue it, and I'm going to glue it for the sake of this video. I'll just use fabric glue. So for those of you who are not sewers or don't have a sewing machine or whatever the case may be, you're going to stay very close to the edge and just run a bead of glue. That looks a little bit thick, but, and then fold it over. The only bonus to using glue is that when you sew jersey material, it tends to shift a lot, and so your seam comes out a little weird and maybe not lined up the right way. You have a lot more control when you're just gluing it. So then go ahead and finish gluing the entire length of your piece of fabric. Okay, next step. You want to give that a few minutes to dry probably, but I'm gonna just launch right into it. Take your scissors. And here I definitely recommend scissors. I don't recommend using a rotary cutter, because if you accidentally cut too far, then you're out of luck. So we're going to fringe this whole length that we just made. I'm going to start fringing so that it goes about 3/4 of the way down. It could even go a little shorter. And this is going to be the inside part of the flower. We're going to roll it first, so it'll be this section. But as I get down, all the way down to the other end, I'm going to fringe as close to that bottom seam as I can. Alright, so go ahead and start fringing. And, you know, it really depends on your taste, how thick you do these. On smaller flowers, I like to do them thinner. On the bigger flowers, I like to do them thicker. So I'd say those are about a 1/2 inch. And I'll probably do like 1/4 inch on the smaller ones. Okay, we're done fringing. That's the worst part of it. Don't worry if you see white glue spots. It'll dry and it'll dry clear. And this is also going to be on the inside anyway. You won't see it. So don't freak out about it. So starting with the edge. So this is my outside edge because the slits in it are much longer. So I'm going to go back all the way to the beginning. And we're going to start rolling. And we're going to add a little bit of fabric, glue. Or you can use E6000 glue, which again I recommend. So again, just add glue along that edge. Okay, and then you're going to start rolling it in on itself. Okay, so just roll, roll, roll. And I want to show you why I said to make your fringes a little bit shorter on the inside edge and longer on the outside. So as we roll, if we have this longer piece that's not fringed, it gives us a good base to keep rolling all the rest of it on. And then the longer pieces on the edge will help cover this base, so it won't look like this weird like stem or something like that that doesn't belong. So more glue, and just keep doing this till you get all the way to the end. Okay, so now that everything is glued, you're going to take a rubber band, which I don't know what I do with it. There it is. And double it up on your fingers first, because it won't work. You have very little to work with here. So double it up on your fingers, and then stretch it around the base of your flower. And you want to leave that there until your glue is well and dried. So I would say, like, seriously, with this fabric glue, I would just leave it for a good 6 to 12 hours. I really don't like fabric glue, but it is what we've got. So then you're going to take this little piece of felt, and you're going to cut out a circle to fit on the base of this. So I'm going to just start winging it here, which is something I should never do, especially when trying to cut a perfect circle. Well, nothing's ever perfect with me, so still a little bit big. Alright, now I happen to be using this felt that I'm trying to get rid of it because I don't like it, but it's the Eco-Fi felt, which I really like, the stuff that's made out of plastic bottles. But it has this sticky back on it. That looks good. And it's supposed to be like a self-adhesive piece of felt, but it really doesn't stay. It's worse than fabric glue. So I'm going to take some of my E6000 and put it around the edges. And I won't go too far. Well, I'll put it in the middle because that'll just help hold everything together. But since it's concave and there's a dent in there, the felt probably won't quite reach it. And I don't really want it to because I want it to have a nice flat base. Now if you wanted to, you could use a piece of t-shirt just to cover up this stuff. But if you do that, you're going to see all the lumps and bumps. So I prefer felt. Especially if it's the kind that's recycled already, it's okay. Okay, so it's not a perfect circle, but. So now you're going to set it all aside to dry, and when it's dry, you'll have these really cute little flowers. So now I promised you that I would tell you how I made each of these. So let me show you really quickly how I made these different flowers. So these two in the front are obviously exactly the same as what I just did. The difference that I wanted to show you is that while these are made from the exact same t-shirt, they have a different look to them. This one's a little bit more loosey-goosey. It looks sort of like crazy hair. And this one's much more full and it's a little bit bigger. Same t-shirt, it's just that this one is half the size of this one. Okay? This one, I took two different colors of t-shirt. I folded them in half and then I laid them on top of each other, fringed them and rolled them, and that's how I got this. Now this one, I took two different colors, but I folded them in half together rather than laying them on top of each other. I folded the white over the green, fringed them and rolled them together. And that's how you get that look. I have a couple of other projects coming up that I'm going to be working with these flowers, so stay tuned. I'm working on a wreath for St. Patrick's Day, which is where this one comes in. And I'm working on some wall art too. Not sure how that's going to turn out, but stay tuned.